Good morning, this is your math sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is an assignment on factoring quadratics. I'm only going to do the first two as examples. So we have the quadratics 3x squared minus 2x minus 5, and we needed to identify a, b, and c. Well, a is 3, b is negative 2, and c is negative 5. Please remember c is my y-intercept. So it crosses the y-axis at negative 5. It asks us to find the factors. Well, we're only able to find the factors when a equals 1. So we need to change this since a is 3. And we're going to do that by multiplying 3 times 5 and getting 15. We're going to write that initial 3 that we multiplied off to the side. And then we're going to focus on x squared minus 2x. And we said the 3 times 5 gives us 15. At that point, we're going to make the list of our factors of 15, and we want our large factors and our small factors. We'll use our calculator to get those factors. We're going to go to y equals 15 divided by x, blue graph, and we get 15 and 1. And remember, we're always putting the large one first, so the 15 comes before the 1. And then we have 5 and 3. And I look down, and all of a sudden, we don't have any other factors till we have 5 and 3 again. As soon as it repeats, we're done. So we're done with that. Don't want to forget about that 3, so I have it off to the side. I need to look at b, and b is negative, so that means my large factor is going to be negative. Then I go to my triangle to figure out what the sign of my small factor is. Well, I have two negatives, so what's left over is a positive, so my small factor must be positive. So when I look at this, I have negative 5 and positive 3. And those together give me negative 2. These equal negative 2, so that's the pair I need. So now I have x minus 5 times x plus 3. But I can't forget about that 3 that I had off to the side that I multiplied at the beginning. So I have to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. Well, this one reduces nicely and it just becomes x plus 1 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. This doesn't reduce, doesn't simplify, so I have to drag it to the front and it becomes 3x minus 5, and we put that in parentheses, and that's our answer. Okay, it asks us to solve for our roots. Solving for our roots just means taking our factors, because these are our factors, means taking our factors and setting them equal to 0. So we have, in this case, 3x minus 5 equals 0. And we'll do the same thing with the x plus 1 equals 0. This one's easier, so we'll start with it. We're just going to subtract 1 from both sides, and we have x equals negative 1. So that's our root. And if we wanted to write the ordered pair for our root, we would write negative 1 comma 0 because the x is negative 1 and the y is 0. If you will notice, the root is just the opposite of whatever the factor is. So the sign just switched. And we're going to see the same thing here, although we have an extra step. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. And now we have 3x equals 5. And we're solving for x, so we have to divide by 3. And all of a sudden we get x equals 5/3. So that's my root. And technically, if I were to write it as an ordered pair and I don't have a whole lot of room, I would write 5/3, because that's where it crosses the x-axis, and 0, where this is my x and this is my y. Remember, this is my root. This is an x-intercept. It's also known as the zeros. Okay? So roots, x-intercept, zeros, they mean essentially the same thing, and it's where the parabola crosses the x-axis. Okay, the next problem. We have a is 3, b is negative 8, and c is 4. And it asks us to find the factors. Once again, We only know how to factor when A is 1 and this isn't. So to fix that, we're going to have to multiply this by 3. So once again, I'm going to have 3. I'm going to list it off to the side because I don't want to forget about it. And then I'm going to have, well, x squared minus 8x plus 12. And I'm going to make list the factors of 12, large and small. And the 12 came from the 3 times 4 gave me 12. Well, the factors of 12, and by the way, I can do this on the calculator. Y equals 12 divided by the XPON button, blue graph. And I get 12 and 1 and 6 and 2. And I also get a 4 and 3. Okay, I look at my B, and my B is negative. That means my large factor is going to be negative. Then I have to go to the triangle. And I look and I have a negative and a positive, so the only thing left over is a negative. I need it to equal to this negative 8, and the two that do that are negative 6 and 2. So we know it's going to be x minus 2, or x minus 6, excuse me, times x minus 2. Well, we started off by multiplying by 3, so now I have to undo that and divide by 3. This is nice because it divides out evenly and just becomes x minus 3. 2 doesn't divide by 3 and it doesn't reduce, so I move it to the front and I end up getting 3x minus 2. So those right here, these are my factors. And if I multiply these two together, I get exactly the same equation, same graph as this. So this is just another way to express this. This is standard form, this is factored form. Now it says for us to solve for the roots. Once again, we're just going to set these equal to 0. So I'm going to write x minus 3 equals 0. This one's going to be easy. And then we'll have this other one, 3x minus 2 equals 0, which is not difficult, but requires a little bit more work. All right, to make this solving for x, I'm going to have to add 3 to both sides. When I do that, I get x equals 3, and that's my root. And as an ordered pair, we would write 3 comma 0. And as I said before, if you'll notice, the root is just the opposite of the factor. The factor is a liar, the root is the truth. This is where it crosses the x-axis. It crosses at 3, 0. If I were drawing a picture, I'd go 1, 2, 3, and it would cross right there at 3, 0. The next one, 3x minus 2. If I add 2 to both sides, so I'm solving for x, now I have 3x equals 2. I divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 2/3. Okay, which means my other root, the other place it crosses the x-axis, is at 2/3 and 0. Well, if this is 1, that means that 2/3 is somewhere here. I have a graph that does something like this. That's what that means. Okay? All right. This concludes this video. I hope it helped. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching.